Story 1: The Neighbor and the Death Cake. My name is Amanda, and what happened to me still feels unreal. It all started with a cake, an innocent-looking chocolate cake, and a neighbor who seemed a little too eager to be my friend. This happened 2 years ago. I had just moved into a new neighborhood after a difficult divorce. I needed a fresh start, and the house I found was perfect. A quiet street, friendly neighbors, and a cozy little front yard. I moved in during spring, and by summer, I had already made a few friends. I'd host casual wine nights on the porch, weekend brunches, nothing extravagant, just normal adult life. And it felt good. I felt like I was healing. That's when I met Helen. Helen lived alone, in the house next door. She was in her late 50s, with graying hair and floral blouses, always tending to her roses. At first, I thought she was sweet, old-fashioned, polite, you know? She waved every time I came home. Once, she even helped me carry groceries, but she never smiled, not once. Her face always looked frozen, observing, calculating. She never came to the porch gatherings, even though I invited her twice. The third time, she said, "Some of us don't need noise to feel whole." I laughed awkwardly. She didn't. A few weeks later, she showed up at my door unannounced, holding a chocolate cake. She said, "I felt bad for always turning down your invitations. I thought I'd return the kindness." Her tone was neutral, not warm, not cold, just flat. The cake looked delicious, homemade, carefully wrapped in foil. I thanked her and said I'd try a slice after dinner. That night, I did. Half an hour later, my stomach started cramping like someone was twisting a knife inside me. I couldn't stand. I was sweating, trembling, and then I blacked out. I woke up in the hospital. They said I had suffered severe food poisoning, likely from some kind of toxin, but they couldn't identify exactly what it was. It wasn't salmonella. It wasn't E. coli. It was something they didn't recognize. My best friend Jess came to visit and asked, "Did you eat anything unusual yesterday?" And I remembered the cake, that damn cake. She froze. "Amanda, I saw that woman watching you last week, just standing behind her curtain. I think she hates you." I shrugged. Maybe she's just lonely. But the seed of doubt had been planted. When I got home, the rest of the cake was still in my fridge. Jess took it to a friend of hers, a lab tech at the university. A week later, we got the results. Rat poison, in small doses, enough to make me very sick. Maybe worse if I had eaten more. I called the police. They were hesitant. There was no proof Helen gave me the cake. No witnesses, no fingerprints, no clear motive. She was just being friendly, they said. But I knew. I stopped responding to her waves. She noticed. One day, she stopped me near the mailbox. "We used to be friendly, Amanda. I wonder what changed." I looked her in the eyes and said, "Maybe I don't feel safe around people who stare at me all the time." She smiled, the first smile I'd ever seen on her face. It wasn't a kind one. "Then maybe you shouldn't live so close to the woods. You never know what kind of animals come out at night." It was a threat, calm, measured. After that, strange things started happening. One morning, my garden was destroyed. All my flowers trampled. My welcome mat gone. Another night, I heard scratching at the back door. My security camera had been unplugged. I reported everything. Again. Nothing was done. That's when I decided to leave. I sold the house for less than it was worth, packed my things, and left without saying goodbye. On the day I moved out, as the truck pulled away, Helen stood on her porch, arms crossed. That same cold smile on her face, She raised her hand, not to wave, just held it there in the air, like she had won. I still wonder what would have happened if I'd eaten that second slice, if I had let her in, if I had ignored the red flags. I learned something from Helen. Not every monster wears a mask. Some bake cakes. Story 2. She wanted to kill me because I smiled. My name is Letitia, and a few months ago, my neighbor tried to kill me. It sounds insane. I know, but it's true. And the worst part? She didn't try to kill me out of rage or revenge. She tried to kill me because I was too friendly to her husband. Let me explain. My husband and I bought a small house in a nice, quiet neighborhood just outside Austin, Texas. It wasn't fancy, but it was safe, and the kind of place where people say hi when they walk by. You know, the kind of normal that makes you lower your guard. The house next to ours belonged to a couple in their early 40s, Rick and Raquel. Rick was friendly, in a goofy, harmless kind of way. The kind of guy who always had a joke ready and called everyone buddy. Raquel, on the other hand, she was colder, beautiful, but tense. The type who smiled with her mouth, but never with her eyes. It started small. One day, I was watering my plants, and Rick walked over to compliment my lavender. We chatted for maybe 5 minutes. Light stuff. Gardening, weather, nothing deep. I remember clearly because Raquel came out during the conversation. She didn't say a word, just stood at the porch, staring. Not at Rick, at me. I waved. She didn't wave back. Later that night, my husband and I were having dinner when I heard their voices through the window, arguing. I didn't hear much, just my name, Letitia. The next day, Raquel came to my door. She had this strained, forced smile and said she wanted to clear the air. I hadn't realized there was anything in the air, but I let her speak. She told me, with a voice so sweet it almost felt mocking, "I'm sure you didn't mean anything by it, but Rick can get too comfortable around women. I'd really appreciate it if you could keep a little distance." It hit me like a slap, wrapped in a compliment. I was stunned. I told her I wasn't interested in Rick, that I was married, happy, and not looking for drama. She nodded, but the way she looked at me, it was like she was memorizing my face for a wanted poster. After that, she stopped acknowledging me entirely. I'd wave, nothing. Smile, nothing. But she watched, from her window, behind her curtain, always watching. I told myself to ignore it. Not everything is personal. But then, it got personal. My dog, healthy and energetic, suddenly got violently sick after a walk through our shared side yard. The vet found traces of poison in his system. He survived, thank God. But the vet told me someone had to have intentionally put something there. I knew it. I just didn't have proof. The moment that changed everything happened on a Wednesday. I was coming back from the grocery store, walking toward my car, which was parked across the street. Raquel's SUV was in her driveway, engine running. As I crossed, I dropped one of my bags, bent to pick it up. When I looked up, I saw her, in the driver's seat, staring dead at me. Then she stepped on the gas. She didn't honk, didn't swerve. She came straight at me. I jumped onto the curb and hit the ground hard. Her car missed me by inches. She didn't stop, didn't even look back. The police came. She denied everything, said I must have misjudged her intentions, that she didn't even see me, and since she hadn't hit me, technically, it wasn't considered assault, but they issued a warning, and we filed a restraining order. Rick, he showed up the next day to apologize. Said he didn't know she had gotten that bad, that she'd been paranoid for months, accusing him of cheating with random women. I wasn't the first. She was later diagnosed with a serious mental health condition. She moved out. I never saw her again. People talk about danger like it's loud, like it screams before it hits you. But sometimes, danger smiles, bakes you cookies, compliments your flowers. Sometimes, danger lives next door and waits for you to drop your grocery bag.
Story 3. He hacked my life. My name is Isabel, and I still have no idea who was threatening me, or if they ever really stopped. It all started with a message, not a letter, not a note slipped under my door, just a simple email with the subject line, "I know." I opened it. It was empty, no sender, no signature, nothing. I thought it was spam. I deleted it. The next day, I received another message. "You shouldn't have left the living room light on last night." That froze me, because I had left it on. And only for 5 minutes, while I was in the kitchen. From then on, the messages became frequent. Not just through email. They started arriving on my WhatsApp, then on Telegram, even on apps I didn't use. Messages like, "Nice outfit today. You should wear that color more often. Staying up late isn't good for you, especially when you're alone." I uninstalled the apps, changed my phone number, but the messages kept coming. I started getting paranoid. I covered the cameras on my phone and laptop. I uninstalled everything, formatted all my devices. Even so, more messages came. One of them said, "Your dog barks too much." I don't have a dog, but my neighbor across the hall does, and his dog only barks when someone is near my door. The breaking point came on a Friday. I was in my bedroom, reading, when I received an email with a photo attached. It was a picture of me, sitting at my table, using my laptop. I was focused, drinking coffee. The camera seemed to be hidden somewhere in the room. The image was clear, almost perfect. And the scariest part, it had been taken the day before. I was wearing the same outfit. I rushed to my bedroom and searched everywhere. I checked the lamps, behind the bookshelf, on top of the wardrobe. And there it was, a micro camera, its tiny red light blinking. I called the police. They took the camera and analyzed it. They discovered it was connected via Wi-Fi, and the signal was coming from inside the building. In other words, whoever was spying on me lived nearby. The investigators traced the IP address, and the truth was even more disturbing than I could have imagined. The man behind it was a computer technician who used to be my neighbor, but had moved away a few months earlier. I used to see him around, and he always said he had many former neighbors as clients, so he often returned to the area for work. 3 months before, he had come to my house to fix my laptop, and he had probably done the same thing to several women he knew. He had installed a hidden program that gave him remote access not only to my laptop, but to everything connected to the same Wi-Fi network, including my cell phone and even the virtual assistant I used in the kitchen. He was arrested. He claimed he never meant to hurt anyone, that he had done it with other women too, that he just wanted to protect them. Protect. Right. The investigators found that he had access to more than 12 different women. Women who thought they were safe, private, untouchable, until they weren't. Today, I have a new number, a new home, a new Wi-Fi network, but I still hesitate every time my phone buzzes with a new notification. Is it just a regular message, or is it him again? I never slept the same way again. I never used a laptop without covering the camera. I never trusted that I was truly alone, because the worst kind of threat is the one who knows you from the inside and enters your life before you even realize it.